welcome to the Green at Morton weekly update, as sponsored by McTears the Auctioneers. The furlough is over, the season is stretching out ahead of us in a few weeks' time, and it's back to business as usual for the manager, David Hopkin. I'm delighted to say that he's joined us today to speak about the challenges ahead. David, it's just good to be back sitting talking to you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think it's been a long time. I think it's been a long 4 or 5 months, and I say it's good to see yourselves back today, and also we've got so many players in today, so it's fantastic. I think there's a buzz about the club today. Total
buzz atmosphere. We've already spoken to a couple of the players that you've signed, Rabin of course, and Gary Oliver coming back to the club.
Yeah, as I said, even last season when Gary was here I wanted to keep him. Also the budget constraints wouldn't allow me to do that. I had a chance to get Gary back to the club this year, and as I said, he's a player I've always liked, I've always admired. I like the way he plays football, and I'm sure he'll come on leaps and bounds coming back to the club. I think you'll probably see similar faces. He knows a lot of players, a lot of fans, and I think he's one that hopefully will get his goals, and I'm sure that he'll fit straight back in again.
It's quite an advantage coming back and knowing the likes of the players, Nizzy, Jim McAllister and these guys that he's worked with before. That must be a good advantage for him.
Yeah, I think the way the season finished, and I think the shorter season we're going to have this season, I think continuity was massive. I think we couldn't do much changes. We also used the furlough scheme to keep most of the players employed, which is a great option till October. And I thought that there's 3 or 4 players that sadly had to move on because we didn't have the finances to keep them. So we know the squad's going to be a wee bit younger. It's going to be tighter. But we had to make sure that we kept players at the club who had an affiliation with the club, who were going to keep that bond between myself and the players that we had last year, and I thought it was fantastically well done by the older players.
Well, there was a lot of talk about the Hoppy factor towards the end of the season. I know you get buzzed about that sort of stuff, but there was, undoubtedly that was a factor in the way that Morton were playing. How are you going to keep that momentum going now?
Well, as I said earlier, Gerry, it's about continuity now. I think the situation, the budget, everything that's been going on at the club, we had to make sure that we kept as many players as we had from last season. I think that was the main factor. That I'd already coached these boys for best part of a year, or just under a year, and as I said, we were starting to get where I wanted to get with them, fitness wise, how we were playing, and I just think it's important that hopefully we can start the season that way. And as I said, that's why I've kept so many of the players. And it was certain players we had to keep in positions where we wanted. We couldn't go and buy or get any new players in. And as I said, and hopefully once we get fans back in, and hopefully before October starts and before the end of the window, we could maybe get another few players in and make us that wee bit stronger.
Let's have a quick chat about Rabin. He just joined the club. A utility player. He's described himself almost as that as well. What do you hope he brings to the club?
Yeah, I've seen him playing since I was a 20s manager at Morton. He was at Annan as a kid. Always really liked him. He was away doing a degree for 4 years. He's a highly intelligent boy, and he's just finished his degree in pharmaceutical, and now was a chance to try and get him in. I spoke to one of my friends who knows him well, and we managed to get him in, and he's at a great age. He's only 22. He's played over 150, 160 games, even though it's been at Elgin and Annan. He's went and he's learned his trade, how to play, and I think a lot of young players, I always think if you go and play at that level, you can handle that level, then you deserve to step up. So he's absolutely thrilled, and I'm thrilled that we've managed to get him in.
Now the timetable is the players return to training, I think it's the 17th of August, and then it's all work towards the Betfred Cup at the start of October.
Yeah, I think so we'll get players in, we'll have a chat about all the things we have to do with COVID-19, how we have to manage things. That was the kind of main priority today, to get him in. Introduce Gary, obviously knew most of the players Rabin, and get younger players in, get a structure in place for how we do come back, a return to training. And as I say, the 17th we'll be back working, and I say it's going to be strange because I'm looking at all the players and they're all looking in very good shape. So they've all looked after themselves since they've been away, and we just need to try and get as many 11v11 games as we can, and try and get the players up to speed as quickly as we can, getting ready for the Betfred Cup.
Now, you've mentioned the buzz and the place from the players, but you're clearly excited about the start of this as well.
Yeah, I think we all. I think it's been frustrating. I think it's been tough. I think it's probably been tough in the club trying to get a budget arranged, and we've probably lost a few players because obviously we've lost Bob, who's our top goal scorer, who was desperate to stay, and I was desperate to keep. But at the time, the club didn't know where we were going to go, and obviously Bob got a 2-year deal at Queen's Park. Nicky Cadd moved on. I think we all knew Nicky was going to move on after the season he had. Had ambitions to play in England. And as I said, and obviously with Sam and Chris Dillon, who they wanted to keep, but financial constraints in the club is tough. So Regan's obviously moved to Wraith Rovers. He's got a 2-year deal. It's probably near his house. So there's always factors in football, but it's up to me now to go in a board to help me go and finance some more players, because I've looked at the squad we have. I just think if we can get another 2 or 3 quality players in, then I think we've a really good squad.
Well, David, it's great to be back talking to you again.
No problem.
And looking forward to the season ahead, and no doubt you and I will be catching up quite a few times before that kicks off. Thanks for coming in.
Cheers, Gerry. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the Greenock Morton Weekly Update, as sponsored by McTears, the Auctioneers.